Hi, welcome to Salt and Burn This. I'm Sami.
And I'm Valerie.
And this is our Supernatural Rewatch podcast.
Each week, we're going to break down an episode in order with lots of details, so nothing's left out.
And we throw in some personal nuggets and stories and research to mix it up just a little bit.
Because not only are we fans of the show, but like Sam and Dean, we've also had our fill of road trips.
Yeah, but for theater, not for hunting ghosts and demons.
And not in a super sexy muscle car.
Anyway, shall we?
We shall.
So we've just been talking about all the shots and like doctors and things that we need to do as we get to this age. And then, you know, it's the beginning of the year while you have health insurance, do what you can while you have it.
Get it done. Yeah.
So I, unfortunately, for all of my bragging about my teeth, I unfortunately need to get a dental implant because this one, you know, one of my crowns, that of all the fucking money I've already paid for them.
For your mouth, yeah.
Like one of them is a root canal. And the root canal has now broken for like the third or fourth time. And it's a very odd feeling because like I heard it snap.
Oh.
Like I heard a snap and then like my crown like became really, really loose. And I was like, ah, you know.
I have nightmares.
Oh, so do
that.
I. All of the fucking time. But it's literally happened to me.
It's happened to you at least twice now.
2 or 3 times. Ever since I moved to New York, like my crown has been like, fuck you.
I'm going to pop out of your mouth.
Yeah, it's going to be real attractive. So, you know, the dentist was like, well, let me just like redo the root canal. And I'm like, okay, dude, is there anything more permanent that we can do? Because this happens all the time. Yeah. And he's like, well, this is kind of like the only option I want to go for right now. And then he sat there. Now, having had a root canal on the same tooth 4 times.
Oh, God.
I don't mind them, you know, because they numb you up and you just like, kind of sit there and you hear the drills and stuff like that, which could be bothersome. But, you know, for me, I'm like, well, you know, whatever. But this was like such a painful one because he kept like digging up there and I could feel it like in my nasal cavity.
In your sinuses?
Kind of like the vibrations and stuff and the pressure.
Yes.
And then finally he was like, I'm having a hard time getting this post out. And I was like, you mean you haven't done anything? Like I thought he was like
putting the new thing in?
Almost finished. And he's just like, no, I haven't even been able to get it out. So yeah, we're probably gonna have to go implant. Which is good because then I won't have to deal with this ever again. You know, but it's a crazy process. Guess how much it's going to cost me out of pocket. I have dental insurance and I have the higher of the 2 levels of dental insurance.
Do they consider it cosmetic?
There are in the list the list of things, there are some of it that I think would be cosmetic and some that are not. So insurance does cover it a portion, but guess how much my out of pocket?
I'm going to say at least $2,000.
$4,300 doll hairs.
You know what? I almost said 5,000, but I was like, Valerie, that's too much. Why don't you go with something lower?
It was when they first gave me the estimate, it was like 5,600, and I'm like, whoa, oh my god, this is way more than I was expecting it to be. Please send this to the insurance so I know for sure how much. You know, I'm going to have before I make any kind of decision.
It's so funny. I just came back from the dentist yesterday.
Really?
Yeah. I finally got in. My dentist, I love them because they harangue you until you come back in. They're like, you're overdue. I'm like, okay. And they're like, no, you're overdue. Like 3 months.
Yeah.
Constant phone calls and appointment. Like, here's an appointment. I'm like, okay. I'm there. I got it. So I got a cleaning, and I know that they were not pleased with me because I was not flossing. And they spent a little bit more time sawing through my gums. But they are nice and everything's nice and white now. And they, of course, gave me a little bit of a complex about my chip tooth. That is just over time, it's just chipping. She said to me that I should think about getting my teeth straightened and then getting my chip, redone. And I was like, oh, you want me to get orthodonture work, do you? I'm like, yeah, I can't afford that. I don't have the money to just for vanity. I mean, and it is vanity because my teeth are working fine, and I can deal with every once in a while I'll catch a picture of me from a weird angle where I'm like, "Ah, my teeth," it like highlights how crooked your teeth actually are, know. But so what? I would love to have my teeth re-straightened, and I would love to have a nice clean front tooth without a chip in it, but not right now.
That is what I did. Was first I got the Invisalign, and then they did the crown work because my chips were like 10 times worse than yours were. And it was on two of them. The two front teeth.
I remember your teeth.
Yeah.
Well, also more a necessity for you because you're a performer. You make your living with part of your living is your face.
Yeah.
And it makes an impact. Unfortunately, it makes an impression, and not that I thought, like, ugh, look at her teeth, but there's somebody who will.
Yes, because I'm that person. I'm that person who notices people's teeth.
I think
because I'm so focused on mine.
Yeah. See, I love good teeth. I absolutely. It's one of the first things I see.
Yeah.
But I'm not. But I think it is also because I'm like what I went through with braces, and now as I'm older, my teeth have moved. I'm like, I wish I had straight teeth again.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing about teeth.
Yes.
So there is a thing called like dental tourism because dentistry in other countries is way cheaper than America, and it's actually maybe a little bit more advanced in many of them. Like Hungary is really well known for their dentists. It's like Hungary, Turkey, Costa Rica, and Mexico were like in the top 4, not necessarily in that order, but of like where you should go to get like cosmetic work.
Top notch.
So I was just looking, I was like, okay, I wonder what it would cost to do that. And 2 round trip tickets, because it would be a 2-part process. It's like first they like extract and then you let that heal up and then you go back and do the thing. 2 round trip tickets to Hungary plus the procedure plus the hotel would be just as much, if not maybe a little bit cheaper than getting it done here.
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy?
And that's after paying for your insurance for the year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. Health insurance, man.
Season 4, Episode 10, Heaven and Hell. I'll kill her gentle. The angels want Anna dead, so Sam and Dean go on the run with the frightened girl, determined to discover the secret that has set the furies of heaven on her. Written by Trevor Sands and Jeremy Carver, I think, and directed by J. Miller Tobin. I say I think because in IMDb there's like 4 or 5 of them that are credited.
Oh, okay. But I will say these past 2 episodes, so I Know What You Did Last Summer and this episode were 2 very good episodes.
I agree.
So this is in conclusion to I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yes, the second part of the 2-parter.
The recap is, again, Anna, Lilith, but they reintroduce Pamela, the psychic.
Yeah, who got her eyes burned out.
Yes. And then they stress again that that the angels need to kill Anna.
Yeah. They kind of nicely at the end of the recap just like play like the last few seconds of the previous scenes, and then the now flows very nicely, picking right up where we left off with the boys standing up for Anna against Cass and Uriel, who are like, as the synopsis just said, they'll kill her gentle because she's not innocent. She's
not an innocent. She's worse than a demon.
Yeah.
Is what they call her. And they need to kill her. Uriel's still a dick. Nothing's changed in the last, 30 seconds, which is where the "I'll kill her gentle" comes in. Still gonna kill her, but I'll be nice about it.
Yeah.
Dean calls them heartless sons of bitches, and Castiel says, "Yes,
yes,
yes, we are." And he doesn't say it ironically. He just says, "That's actually right. We have no hearts. Where we are just the machines." Even though Castiel has previously said, "I'm more than that. I'm starting to doubt." But God, angels. So Sam and Dean refuse to give Anna over, obviously. And so Uriel decides to attack Ruby. He's like, all right, can't have Anna. How about this bitch, basically? And like leaps on to Ruby.
Oh no, he like throws her against the wall.
Yeah.
And then starts punching down on Dean, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, because Dean tries to pull him off of Ruby.
Yeah. And then Uriel's just like, yes, this is my chance. And just like goes and goes and goes and goes. Like joyfully beating up Dean. Cass walks towards Sam, thankfully just puts him to sleep, with this little 2-finger,
This little finger touchy on the forehead thing. Yep. Boop. Sam passes out.
And then all of a sudden, a bright light fills the room. And when it disappears, it takes the angels with it. Like the angels kind of get like ray gunned away.
Yeah, there's no smoke or anything. It's just bright light, and it's like you kind of see their bodies streak out of the room.
Yeah,
but that's it. I kind of like this white light because it was kind of like tinged with blue almost.
Yeah.
Dean goes and helps Ruby up, which I thought was nice. A little shift in how he sees her right now.
Yeah,
helps her up to her feet. They go to check on Anna, who has disappeared from the room, and it turns out she's in the next room with like pools of blood from her wrists. She's got her hands like both hands planted on a desk in pools of blood. She's painted some sort of blood sigil on a mirror and is like collapsing from the whatever
blood loss
just happened. Yeah,
blood loss or the spell, I don't know, but she can't remember why she knows this symbol or spell.
Yeah, he's like, did you kill them? And she says, no, I didn't kill them. I just sent them away.
Yeah.
I sent them far away. How'd you do that? I don't know. It just came into my head. And it's like, okay, title splash.
Yeah.
There's right before Cass did the brain touchy thing to Sam called him Cass. And I wrote down, I was like, ooh, is this the first time? It's not the first time we've heard the word Cass, because Dean in a previous episode doesn't call Cass. He refers to Cass as Cass. But this is the first time I've heard.
Say Cass one more time.
I know. But this is like, I think the first time that Sam has called him that name to his face. So there's like a relationship that's now formed, some sort of, and I don't mean like a good relationship, but there's doesn't call him Castiel, don't do this. He says, Cast, you don't have to do this or whatever. And anyway, I just thought that was first. I was like, oh, is that the first time we've ever heard Cass? No.
Yeah.
We're going to hear it more. And not just from me.
Okay, so after the splash, everyone's still in this shack. And the boys are kind of discussing their situation because now they're like, hold on. Like, I know we hate the angels, but they also said that she's, not innocent.
Worse. Right.
That she's bad somehow. So
what has she done?
Right. So they're a little concerned, but not so much that they're just going to like run away. They're still going to keep her safe for now, with everybody else until they find more answers.
Yeah. This episode, by the way, has a handful of movie and TV shout outs.
Oh, there's so many cultural references. Yeah. Many.
Not meta cultural. This first one was Angels in the Outfield. That's how Dean described what Anna did, was now that she's put angels in the outfield, which is a fairly terrible 1994
awful
baseball movie. Yeah,
it was awful. I remember liking it when I was younger, but now when I'm thinking about, I haven't seen it since then, but I'm like, wow, what a terrible idea.
A huge cast. I mean, a giant cast, but a terrible movie.
Yeah. So stupid. So anyway, the safe place that they decided on is Bobby's panic room.
Yes. So off they go to South Dakota. And it turns out that Bobby isn't there. And the way they explain Bobby not being there is that he's either on vacation in the DR or he's hunting something. And they're hoping that he's hunting something and not on a beach at hedonism in a banana hammock and a trucker hat.
Yeah.
Which Sam is a little traumatized by that image, and I kind of was too. Yeah. I was like, oh, I went there.
Oh, speaking of Bobby, or more so Jim Beaver, an interesting little tie-in. So I'm sure you've heard that Richard Belzer passed away a couple of days ago, who played Detective Munch from SVU, which is another show I've been kind of binging on for the past couple of years. I saw on Jim Beaver's Twitter that he had auditioned for Munch.
On the original series that he was on?
Yeah, the Homicide Life on the Streets show.
Yep.
So, I don't know.
Wow.
That was just like a weird little, some sort of degree of separation. Even though he says he never met Richard Belzer, he was just like, oh, this is weird, you know?
Yeah. No, that's still
a chance it could have been me. Yeah.
Right. I have a hard time picturing.
No. So I love Jim Beaver, but Munch.
Right.
Belzer is Munch.
Yeah.
Forever and ever.
Which is why he's been Munch on every show.
I know, for like 25 years. He was
same character, different shows.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, so sorry for your loss. That's a hard hit. No, seriously, when you have a beloved character. You know, that's hard.
It was just like, oh my God, Belzer. But he died in France, and he loved France, so I guess he was happy. Apparently, his last words were "fuck you, motherfucker," but that's not confirmed.
Oh, okay.
It was like a friend of his said, like, "Oh yeah, he's been dealing with some health issues, and his last words were "fuck you, motherfucker." But in what context, I don't know. If that was even true, you know, could have just been this guy giving him a legacy, you know. Right,
exactly. I'll take it till you say it's not.
All right, so back in Bobby's panic room, sans Bobby. Anna's safe for now, including hex bags made from Ruby for extra like GPS protection, you know.
extra crunchy, so no angels, no demons there. It's pure blinding.
Yeah.
So nobody knows where they are.
And to recall what you just said a few minutes ago, Dean sincerely thanks Ruby for this little extra bump of protection.
Warding. Yeah. I underlined that. Yeah. And of course, for now, the angel radio is silent. Anna's not hearing any voices. Nothing seems to be happening, which is a little disconcerting for all of them.
Yeah.
Sammy's been doing some research on Anna, on her medical past, essentially, and has found that she's had medical incidents before. So she was hospitalized for like panic attacks and stuff like that when she was 2.5, something like that. And reading her medical records, it said that, you know, her father, her mom and dad brought her in when she would scream that her dad wasn't her dad and that her real dad was really mad at her and wants her dead, essentially. And I didn't understand the connection between her being like yelling that, you know, you're not my real dad, but my real dad wants to kill me. I was like, so which part are you know, really that scared about? And of course, Dean has to latch in on the whole, like, oh, not her real dad? Who's her real dad? The plumber? Snake in the old pipes? Perfect response from Sam, which is, Dean, you're confusing reality with porn again.
Yeah.
And it was like the most perfect delivery by Jared. I was like, well done. Because he doesn't savor it. He doesn't like poke at him. He just says it, you know, and then moves on to the next thing, leaving Dean no chance to retort.
Right.
Great delivery.
But anyway, shortly after that, Anna shows up. She's been eavesdropping, and it's a bad conversation to be eavesdropping about when they're talking about your, you know, quote unquote psychotic past. Right. Ruby is a terrible babysitter. We've learned. You know? I loved this little exchange.
Didn't Dean say, like, keep an eye on her? And she's like, okay.
She's just like, I am.
Keep an eye on her.
She's right here.
I know where she is.
Yeah. And then good old Sam, you know, she's just like, why don't you ask me yourself? And Sam says, okay, fair enough. So
what are you guilty of?
Yeah. Is there anything? The angels seem to think you've done something wrong. Do you know what it is? And she doesn't remember. And Sam believes her. And he's like, okay, that's fine. Let's try and find out then.
Enter the hot chick, the hot psychic, Pamela. Who now, blinded, is sporting some really funky white plastic eyeballs.
Yeah.
Which, I'm like, I know they had to choose a color for them, you know, because they couldn't give her black, you know, but I was like, white? were they trying to say something, or was she just like really cool?
Well, she said something about like, oh, it's good for business because it makes me seem a little bit extra, extra psychic-y.
Yeah, a little bit more psychic-y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
but still, like white
that's
eyes.
something that I would do. Like if I ever like got my eyeballs burned out of my head, I would put something kind of funky in them. There's a girl on TikTok, and I don't know her name at all. I've just come across her every now and then, in the algorithm. She's got one fake eyeball that she puts in one that looks like it's just rhinestones.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
I assume it's like rhinestones encased in like the gel or whatever, so it's not like bumpy,
tearing up her eyelid.
But it is super cool. It's like, oh wow, that's
imagine I get an eyelash in my eye and I'm like, ah. Imagine if you had rhinestones.
I know.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So enter Pamela, who's still blind, can tap Sam on the ass, which I love, and she still recognizes that there's a demon in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Ruby doesn't recognize Anna for what we find out she is, but does know that there's another human in the room named Anna.
Yeah.
So their plan is to hypnotize Anna, and to see if they can do the way back and find out what happened. I want to say I love Pamela in the sense during the scene where they do hypnotize Anna, she is so in control and so like confident in what she's doing. There isn't anything so far about Pamela that I don't like.
Yeah.
And I kind of like am envious of somebody who is so certain of themselves in situations like this.
Yeah.
So I mean, not like this, but just in life in general. You know who you are, you know what your role is, you know how to do it.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Okay, so inside of the panic room, and Pamela is starting her hypnosis very calmly, as you said. She starts asking just basic questions. How can you hear the angels? How do you know the spells? Anna still doesn't know, even under hypnosis. What's your father's name? Rick or whatever.
Right.
And then she's like, okay, let's go back a little bit further. What's that father's name? And then Anna starts resisting.
Yeah. She's like, no, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. And then starts kind of panicking, not quite having a seizure, but lashing out, Yeah.
Yeah. There's something that she thinks is physically there that we don't see. She's kind of like, no.
Yeah, she's physically fighting. She gets more intense. She starts screaming, and then the lights start bursting out in the room.
Lights are flickering. The light bulbs burst, and
they explode.
She's screaming, no.
Yeah. Dean tries to approach her, and then Anna punches him over to the other side of the room accidentally. But
accidentally, because it's like someone having a seizure, and they're just strong and out of control. And so he gets kind of a supernatural bolt across the room.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Pamela's like, wait, no, Dean, don't, and she knew what was going to happen. But because they're not getting any further and things are exploding, Pamela pulls Anna out of the trance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're awake.
Yeah.
And sorry, we couldn't find out, what happened. Anna says, no. Thank you.
Yeah.
I do know who I am. I do know what happened. And it turns out that Anna was an angel.
An angel.
Which is not good for pretty much anybody at this point,
everyone
considering
is like,
what we know. Pamela is like, okay, peace out, bitches, because I already played this game.
Yeah. Ruby, the demon, is like, nope, I don't want to be in the same room as an angel. And then the boys are like, nope, you guys are all dicks. So
yeah, great.
What's happening? However, like, why do they want to kill you? What's going on with that? And so this is when she tells her story. She's like, well, I disobeyed my orders, which is like the number one crime that you can do, and I fell to Earth as a human. And I ripped out my Grace.
Right. Which I did do a little research on Grace, because it's just kind of taken for granted that everybody understands what grace is. In general terms, grace is the power that God willingly gives us, and I'll use us in air quotes, to help us do what we could never do on our own. That's one. The other is it's just celestial energy integral to angels, is what differentiates angels from humans, is that they're energized by the power of God, by the grace of God. So that's what that is. It's essentially just their juice.
Yeah, and she kind of describes that, people, I think one of them asks is like, excuse me, bless you.
Right.
She's like, no, this is what, this basically my power. And then she lost her memory of being an angel the older she got. So that's why when she was 2, she was screaming about her real father, aka God.
She was starting. Yep.
But then the older she got, just kind of faded away.
Yeah, and she also got psychiatric help.
Yeah,
that steered her mentally in a different direction. She, as an angel, we have to note that she was Castiel and Uriel's boss. They were on some sort of team together. They called it in the same foxhole, but she was actually their commander or their leader. So we need to. So there's some sort of familial, which is probably why Cass and Uriel were sent to get her.
Right.
But again, my question lingers: how did anybody know who Anna was as a human, and why did she suddenly become the focus of both angel and demon?
See, I would assume that it had something to do with her tuning into angel radio, because I feel like the angels may have noticed, like, oh, there's a new frequency on here. Yeah.
Okay.
Because she did say that she only started hearing them like a couple months ago or something, right? It was a fairly recent thing that she started to we know, like, regain her angel like memories and connections, or whatever you want to call it.
And it was when Dean was saved from hell. Yeah.
Yes.
So it goes to okay, yeah, I'll buy that. So now they realize the real danger that she is, not only to herself but to everyone around her, because a human angel can be tortured, can be, can bleed, can hurt, and can be used by the demons for information, and also just because. I think Ruby said, right, why not? Yeah.
And here she says, kind of, the title of the episode, one of many times the title of the episode is said. She says, sooner or later, heaven or hell, they're gonna find you.
Yep. So yeah, heaven wants her dead, demons just want.
Yes.
Just want her. Yeah.
Yes. So Ruby's kind of the only one truly appreciating the direness of their situation. I think she even says that. She's like, no, you guys do not understand.
You don't know. You don't get
what is happening here. And so therefore Anna wants to try and find her grace and get her angel powers again, but she has no idea where that is, since that was, 30 years ago.
Whatever years ago. Yeah. Right. And
Smarty Pants Sam.
Yep. He figures out that Anna, her actual falling from heaven, may have been seen as like a meteor, because she mentions, I don't know, I was falling at 30,000 miles an hour type of thing, followed by her grace, falling separately from her. And so Dean's like, so could humans have seen this?
Yeah.
Would it have been like a meteor? So he goes and tracks down meteor sightings around that time of when she fell, and they're able to narrow it down to a state. To what, where was it?
So one was in Ohio, which is where she was born. And the other one was in Kentucky.
Union, Kentucky. Right. So, sorry, I just want to mention the movie and TV references.
No, please do.
And they're all like mostly from Dean, which is kind of funny, because he's not contributing much at this point to helping Anna, or to researching Anna. So he's like, so wait, if she can get her grace back, he references Touched by an Angel. He's like, so you like do a bong hit for your Grace and suddenly you're Roma Downey, which was an angel on Touched by an Angel, which, okay. And then once Sam realizes, like, we need to track down these meteor hits, this will probably lead us towards her Grace. Ruby goes on about angels and demons, like you said. She's like, you don't understand. She's like, it's like Godzilla and Mothra. Angels and demons fighting is like. Now, I did go down a little rabbit hole with Godzilla and Mothra.
Oh boy,
because that is a reference. That is, I mean, everyone knows Godzilla, right? But not everybody has seen a Godzilla movie, especially like one of the originals.
Yeah.
And Mothra, if you don't know, you don't know. So
yeah.
Mothra, while Mothra and Godzilla, Godzilla, big lizard who,
they're in the same
Tokyo.
Universe, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Godzilla was created by atomic energy. Everybody has superpowers because of nuclear, accidents. Godzilla exists because of a nuclear explosion. Yeah. So Mothra is a moth. Initially is a benevolent creature and is forced to do bad things because she was provoked. So she ends up fighting Godzilla because Godzilla like stole her egg or something like that, and so and the city of Tokyo gets destroyed between the two of them fighting each other. The creature Godzilla is a metaphor for the U.S. aggression against Japan and dropping the atomic bomb. So, which has nothing to do with this episode, but if people are like, "What's Godzilla? Is he just this big lizard?" That was the Japanese answer to the bomb.
Right.
Was that it created this, awoke they awoke a sleeping giant in the U.S. When they attacked Pearl Harbor, but the giant was the bomb, and it came to attack and destroy Japan. So I see Mothra as, kind of Anna. She started out as like this benevolent thing, and then is forced to become, worse because of circumstances. And Godzilla, not quite sure who would be Godzilla in this mix, but so maybe the demons are Godzilla, maybe Alistair is Godzilla. Anyway, that was a rabbit hole I went down. I'm so sorry, but because they reference Godzilla and Mothra several times, I just want to make sure that everyone knows it was a 1964 movie that started a huge dialogue with Japanese movie making. So there you go.
I don't know. I think Godzilla and Mothra are referencing more heaven and hell versus just one particular demon or one particular angel.
Yeah. But also Earth could be destroyed in the process.
Right, because they are monstrous. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, anyway, Ruby just wants to bail on Anna because she's like, nope. I went out.
She's like, even with all of these metaphors, she's like, honestly, the thing I'm most afraid of is Alistair. You guys don't understand the thing that is Alistair.
Right.
So angel aside there, Anna, Alistair is who we should be worried about.
Right, because he is she calls him the Grand Inquisitor of Hell, Picasso with a knife, meaning he is a
slicer and a dicer, torturer.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And she wants Sam to pull him out, meaning like exercise the demon out. But he's too out of shape because he stopped doing ...
Yes.
And then we don't know what that ... is because Sam is like, nope, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yep.
I'm not doing that.
I love that she called him flabby. Your powers are flabby. But yeah, so Sam totally shuts her down. Like, nope, not doing that. I said I wouldn't do it. I'm not doing it. So here's another movie reference, so what if Anna doesn't get her groove back, which is a reference to how Stella got her groove back.
Yes.
1998, Angela Bassett, and that's all I'm going to say about it. And
Tay Diggs.
So the question is, what do we do? Like, so we have to go find her Grace and hope that this is the answer.
Yeah.
So later that night, Dean and Anna are outside talking, and they kind of have Dean takes this opportunity to ask Anna as an angel, what she knows about him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why? And he's got some existential questions, which is like, why me? Why did they save me?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah. And Anna doesn't know. She's like, that happened after I fell and I was human, so I don't know. I don't, you were not part of the plan before I fell, so I don't know. Not the answer that Dean was looking for. So now the conversation turns to Anna, you know, and why would you choose to fall? Speaking of falling.
Yeah.
And you know, apparently with Anna as an angel, her life was very cold and stony, and it was all very regimented. She was stuck in this military assignment, waiting for orders from a non-existent father, or a non-present father, I should say.
Yeah. She basically says all that.
It's not cracked up to what you think it is.
Thank you. Could not get those words out.
That's okay.
It's like only obedience and faith, or death. Those are your two options, you know.
Yes, take or death.
And I don't know why I chose to do this, but you know, her and him kind of go on this banter about like, why would you want to be human? You know, it's like all of this crap, and she's like, yeah, but then it's all of this stuff. And it was kind of like a pros and cons list. So
yes.
So Anna's, Dean's cons are eating, crapping, confused, afraid, miserable bastards, pain, and guilt. Yep. And Anna's pros are loyalty, forgiveness, love, chocolate cake, and sex.
And Dean's like, well, got me there. Yeah. Had she said pie, you know, maybe that would have been too much on the nose.
Maybe.
But yeah. So
but
Dean's
she does say like, I don't, good and bad, I would give anything.
I'd rather have
to
the
keep
emotions.
Those than to go back.
Yep. I'd rather feel sad, but know that I can feel sad.
Yeah.
Than go back to what I had, to experience emotions, which I think is pretty cool. She also says, she mentioned that there's, you know, not everybody, because Dean says, you know, well, if you knew that God was waiting for you, what's the hang up? And she's like, I don't know. There's only been 4 angels that have actually seen him.
Yeah.
You know, we have to, like you said, we have to take it on faith. And later in Supernatural, it turns out that there's 6 angels that have seen him. But if you look at the biblical references to these angels, it's the 4 archangels who have seen God's face. Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Michael. Those in the Bible are the 4 archangels who have actually seen the face of God. And I think it's Moses who's the only human who has seen the face of God. Interesting that all angels then, again, are operating on faith.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but that's what they were created to do. So it's.
She also describes a life, you know, like her life is very parallel to Dean's, you know, when she was like, how would you feel if you were on the, you know, she says she was stationed on Earth for like 2,000 years or something. How would you feel being on the road, like taking orders from like a non-existent father, and you're homesick and you know.
Yes. And Dean's like, ha ha ha, what's so funny?
Yeah.
Wow. And he's like, I can relate.
Yeah.
You know, and that's all he has to say is, yeah, I can relate.
Yeah. So I thought that before we move on, this was an interesting exchange to me, because Dean was listing all of these, it seemed like good things about angels, or what he thought would be good things about angels, which were like, you don't doubt yourselves, you don't doubt God, you're perfect, you're powerful. And I feel like that was very unlike him. Maybe because he's like hates the angels so much, you know, he's always just like, you guys are assholes, essentially.
Yeah.
And he hates all of their decisions, like wanting to kill Anna for no good reason, apparently, wanting to blow up this town. Like he's really kind of losing his admiration, if he even had any to begin with. But then also it was like, well, maybe he's just like tired of always doubting himself, you know, and or being full of doubt, not just from him, but for like the decisions they both make, or you know, like, well, maybe we should have done that instead of this. So maybe that's what he would have found comfort in being an angel, is just like, oh, you just go do, and then that's that. Right.
Well, he's also in Anna, he has somebody that he can actually talk to without being a confrontation. You know, anytime he said anything contrary to Castiel or Uriel, it was met with, you know, oh yeah, we'll put him up, you know.
Right.
Whereas with Anna, he can actually ask these questions and he can actually get an answer.
Yeah.
From a real angel and from the human side of the angel. So maybe he feels that he can let down his antagonistic approach to the angels.
Yeah, that's also a good point. It was just interesting because I understand why he was like, why would you want to be human? You know, like our roller coaster of emotions sucks. But then he was like, wouldn't you rather be an angel? Which I feel like would not be his personal choice.
But I think this opens up, this gets answered, I think, at the end of the episode. Okay. When he and Sam are talking, and I'll try to circle back to that.
Okay.
If we remember.
I think I kind of feel where you're going with that.
So what you just said, I just went, aha, it's talked about in the end. Yeah. So Sam interrupts, like, you know, hate to interrupt this Hallmark moment. But he's got something. He's found information, and so he did find where the meteor hit in Kentucky, in Union, Kentucky, because where it hit, the people, apparently it was an open field, and then within like 24 hours or a few months or something, it's now a full-blown solid oak tree. It is a full-grown oak tree. So like
100-year-old tree.
Yeah, they're like, maybe this is it. Yeah. You know. So off they go to Kentucky, which is like a 15-hour drive from South Dakota. So it's all four of them are in the Impala now, which is again a very funny picture.
Yeah.
To have like Dean driving, Sam in the front seat, and Angel
and a demon
and a demon in the back seat. Yeah. And again, Dean has a porn moment where, you know, he's like an angel and a demon in the back seat. And Sam again has to be like, dude, that's porn. This is reality. And this time Dean does have a response. He's like, what part of this is reality? Where we are driving an angel and a demon to a magic oak tree.
Yeah.
In Kentucky.
A magic oak tree. So they arrive at the magic oak tree. It's gorgeous. Yes. With like nice little light filtering through the branches. It's very picturesque.
Yes. Mossy.
And heavenly, if you will.
Yes. But no grace.
No grace, yeah. Anna just has to kind of like touch the tree, feel it, and she can already tell. It's like, no, someone already took it.
Cut to Dean and Ruby bickering in the barn.
Yeah,
or in
they're
barn.
Back in another shack.
Yep. And Anna is hearing the whispering again. The whispers have started. But she said it's different this time. It's actually, they're saying something that's just on a loop. It's like, it's not a conversation. And it's just, Dean Winchester gives us Anna by midnight, or we haul him back to damnation. And that's just playing over and over and over again. So clearly a message that the angels are sending to Anna and threatening Dean.
Yeah.
I wrote down, this is not good. Because even the look on Dean's face, Dean does look afraid.
Yeah.
Because hell was no picnic.
Right.
So I think that was afraid for Dean, not necessarily afraid for Anna. I think Dean was afraid.
Oh, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Dean. He was afraid for himself. And Sam also is afraid for Dean, I think. I think everyone's kind of afraid in general. You know, then they start kind of throwing out plan ideas like, oh, is there a weapon that can kill angels? And Anna doesn't say no. You know, she doesn't say there's no weapon that exists. She's just like, oh, there's no way we could get to such a weapon.
Right. But also she's like, we'd have to kill them. Like suddenly now she's not so keen on killing angels. At least that's what I got from that. I said she doesn't seem too thrilled about the need to kill them in order to live herself.
Yeah. I thought maybe she was more just like surprised, like, oh, we're jumping to that.
We're going there.
Okay.
Yeah. Welcome to the Winchesters.
Yes. But again, just worth noting that she didn't say there's no such a weapon that can kill an angel. It's just, you know, we can't get to one. And, you know, Dean is like, let's call Bobby. But, you know, both of these things are just worthless because what the hell is Bobby going to tell them? That
we don't already know at this point. Yeah. So back outside, Dean and Anna are talking again. And this time Anna approaches Dean instead of him asking her questions, says, you know, I heard what the angel said, and I know what you did. I know
In
what
hell.
you did in hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she says, you have to forgive yourself. And Dean says, I can't talk about this. I'm not going to talk about this. And she accepts that. She's like, okay, but when you do start to talk about it, forgive yourself and know that there are
people in
wanna
your
help you.
circle that want to help
Yeah.
you. But she
Yes,
was like, yes, Anna.
Yes,
Exactly.
you are not alone. And then proceeds to kiss him.
Mm-hmm.
And Dean's like, what's that for?
It's like, oh,
You know,
last night on Earth, round to the round.
Dean's like, couldn't have said it better myself,
Yep.
basically, or you're stealing my lines or something. But these are the exact same words that Ruby used to Sam before she seduced Sam. The exact same words with the exact same outcome. You are not alone. Sexy time.
Yep.
And this was followed by a sexy time with Anna and Dean in the Impala, which I loved it with the exception of the song.
You didn't like
it was
that
just
song?
a little too I love that song. It was just a little too on the nose for me. I mean, literally, Are You Ready for Love by Bad Company? And I was like, well, apparently she is. Yep. That's all. It kind of took me out of the moment because I was like, Are you ready for love?
I wasn't listening to the words. I was feeling more the groove, like the melody and the beat of the music was definitely in tune with the kind of like brown chicka brown cow that was going on there.
Yes. But I still had to giggle at it literally saying, are you ready for love? Yeah, they're ready for love. So they had a nice sexy time in the car. And again,
there's a nice little scene steal from old Titanic with the hand on a steamy window and dragging it down.
And the sound.
And I just want to say, I'm going to be a little cheeky here, that this was a way better scene steal or like a shot for shot comparison than the Indiana Jones shots contest thing that you were trying to make out. Because I went and looked at that scene and I even like pulled it up side by side and I was like, no, this is not. I even was gonna make a side by side and send it to you and be like, "What are you talking about?"
All you have to say is no. You don't have to rub it in my face because, as I said, it was mine. I didn't try to say yes, it is. I was like, it was visceral for me, and it made me think directly of that scene. And when I watched it, I was like, yes, but you watched it and went no. Yeah. So all good. I mean, clearly, hand on the inside of the steamy window is Titanic, over and over again. I did think it was interesting though that it went from Anna touching the burn mark on Dean's arm, the cast burn mark. It went from that shot directly to a handprint on the glass, and I was like, oh, is it erasing his, No. Oh, I know it didn't, but I was like, interesting. That went from handprint to handprint.
I think that was just let's throw in a Titanic, like steamy, like handprint here.
Okay. So yeah, steamy hand. And I even wrote down, does it mean anything? Okay. I didn't answer the question. I just wrote down, does it mean anything? And the answer is no. No, it doesn't, Valerie. It doesn't. Cut to. Thank you. At a crossroads, Ruby is burning her hex bag.
Yeah.
And she looks around the way everybody looks around, waiting for a crossroads demon to appear, which I kind of found humorous. And then Alistair appears with the demon blade.
Yeah.
That was left in him.
By a gangly friend, I think he said.
Gangly, yes, at the church.
So, and then he offers it back to her. He's like, do you want this back? And she, I guess as a show of good faith, was like, no, you can keep it. It's fine. I just want to make a deal.
A deal.
With you. Yep. Not a traditional deal, but just like, hey, I have this angel chick that you're looking for. I'll give her to you if you just let me and the Winchester boys go.
Both of them.
And
Alistair, of course, calls her a slut.
A cowardly slut.
Yep. And says no. 2 other demons appear and grab her.
Yep.
So her bargaining chip is moot.
Now he
She
has
has
a
nothing.
counter offer that she can't really refuse.
Can't really refuse
Gonna
because
make her an offer that he can't refuse.
So back in the barn, Dean walks in and sees Uriel, looks around and realizes that it's only him and Uriel, and comes to the realization that he's dreaming and that Uriel has entered his dreams. Not Dean's first rodeo when it comes to angels, interrupting, invading his dreams, which I liked that Dean was like, been here before. I know this.
But I also thought it was just like, how does he know that I'm here? I have like my little hex baggy thing, so it was like, how did he know? Maybe I'm dreaming, whatever.
Right.
However, he got to the conclusion that he's dreaming. He did, and he's dreaming, and that's the only way that angels can communicate with him right now.
Right. I thought it was because Ruby burnt her hex bag.
I thought that too.
Find them. Yeah.
I thought that too. But I guess that was just her.
Yeah.
Because they probably still have theirs on them. Because she did hand them like a couple of them right at the start. Gave one to each Dean and Anna. So anyway, Uriel is there just because it's the only way that he can talk to Dean, and his time is almost up. He's alone because Cass likes Dean too much to want to threaten him like he's about to. Dean threatens him right back, with a lie, but he says, oh, Anna's like back. She's like level 9,000,
Yeah, she's an angel now.
She's gonna kick your ass.
Back. Yep, and Uriel's like, she can't do that without her grace. And it turns out Uriel is the one who found her grace and took it, and he's holding it in like a little crystal vase, like around his neck.
Like a vial, yeah.
Yeah. And he proceeds to taunt Dean about Anna, and now he has feelings for Anna. There's something more there. Oh, you got a slice of angel food cake, which is gross, but okay. not off the mark.
But kind of clever.
Yep. Calls his bluff. Dean is like, you know what? You're not going to do anything. Go ahead. Send me to hell.
Yeah.
Do it. And Uriel is actually taken a little aback by that. He's like, you're just crazy enough to do it. You're just crazy enough to stand there while I kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And Dean says, you know what? I don't break that easy. And Uriel says, yes, you do. You just got to apply the right pressure.
Right.
And Dean seems to be like, uh-oh, what does Uriel have?
Yeah.
What is the pressure and what is my pressure point? Like, he actually does look concerned. He kind of drops the bravado for a second.
Yeah. He also does retort to Uriel, and I wondered if this could be a reach on my end. He says, like, he calls Uriel junkless, and you're like a Ken doll down there.
Yeah.
Which called back to me, it's a Kevin Smith movie called Dogma, in which Alan Rickman plays an angel.
Alan Rickman.
I know, it's like the weirdest movie that Alan Rickman could have been in, I think, but like he did such a good job. But he literally pulls his pants down, and it's like
and he
a
doesn't
Ken
have
doll.
anything.
Yeah, it's just like blank, and he says, "I'm like a Ken doll," in his Alan Rickman voice.
I would say that's actually pretty good, because otherwise, why would Dean? How does Dean know that angels don't have anatomy?
Yeah,
especially if they're they're in a core. I mean, they're in a meat suit, right? So, I guess
that's true. They are in a meat suit, so they probably, at this moment in time, do have
a
genitalia.
Human Oobadoos. But yeah, so I will give you that. Let's say yes to the shout out to to Dogma. Wouldn't put it past the writers, honestly. Would not put it past them.
Yeah. So now we cut to Ruby, who is in, I could only describe it as like a torture porn situation.
Yeah, I was like some disgusting dentist's office that was half
I don't know, because she was strapped to a table, but
specifically for like torture. Yeah.
Yes. But she was naked except the strap, strategically covering her, hoo-ha, titties, and I'm sure hoo-ha.
And booby-doobies.
And I'm sure it was just so there was enough skin exposed so he could like knife her in all the places, but
yeah. And the straps I was holding her down had like sigils and stuff in it. There was a leather strap across her mouth that we learned was to keep her from smoking out while he was carving her up, because Alistair has cutting her with the demon blade.
Yeah.
Is slicing her. There's blood running down onto the floor from her body. And she's crying and she's screaming through this mask.
Yeah.
But it's covering her mouth.
Yeah, he's cutting her just enough that it won't kill her, but it's sure causing a lot of pain.
Yeah, she is not holding back.
Part of Ruby, right?
She is definitely in pain. He eventually stops cutting, removes her mouth gag, her mouth strap, saying, and don't you go try smoking out because, kill you, essentially. And when he removes the thing from her mouth, her relief and her breath is so livable. It's
like visceral,
believable. Yeah, that she is truly being tortured.
Yeah.
And it's not like, yeah, Ruby, you deserve that. No, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And she breaks down. She's like, I'll show you. I'll show you. I'll take you to Anna.
Yeah, I won't tell you because you're just gonna kill me right afterward. But I will show you. I'll take you there.
Yeah. We assume that the torture stops because we don't see him like put the mask back on her.
Yeah, he just kind of smiles.
Like, yeah. So back at the barn, Sam, Dean, and Anna are like looking for Ruby. Like, why isn't Ruby here?
Yeah.
Where's Ruby? And suddenly the wind blows, the walls bang open, and Uriel and Castiel walk in a standard now angel entrance.
Right. Yeah.
And I love that they also like close the doors behind them. So it's like bang, doors open, they enter, bang, doors closed behind them. I'm like, well, that's nice. It's nice that they closed the door.
Yeah. And it does seem like everybody but Dean is surprised to see them there. Like, how did you find us? What is going on?
Well, we thought the hex bags would save us.
Yeah.
All eyes cut to Dean.
Yeah, it was like a slow turn, like,
Okay.
And he apologizes to Anna, who realizes that they gave him a choice of whether to kill her or I think she was gesturing to killing Sam. Like that was the choice he was given.
That was his option. Either they'll kill Sam or they'll kill Anna, and it's up to him to choose.
Yeah.
And so Dean apologizes to Anna, and Anna's like, "It's okay, I forgive you. I get it.
Yeah.
I understand." And Sam is kind of like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Not in a comic way, but he is truly like, what is happening?
I am so
here?
confused. Yeah.
I'm so confused. Anna kisses Dean and says, you did the best you could. I forgive you. Even though Dean has previously said he's not in for like consolation prizes, for participation trophies.
Yeah.
And so far it's like, he keeps getting like, oh, you tried your hardest, which is like not what Dean wants. He wants to win. Yeah. He doesn't want to be like, oh, you tried. And Castiel sees this. I mean, he witnesses this interaction between Sam and Dean and Anna, and he seems a little bit affected by it, or at least he seems to take note of it, as opposed to like Uriel, who's just like, let's hurry this up and get to the killing. Castiel seems to be a little bit more intrigued by the interactions.
Yeah.
And then Anna, she's like, all right. She steps away from the protection of Sam and Dean, steps forward closer to Castiel and Uriel, and says basically, all right, let's do this.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm done running. I'm done hiding. Let's go. And in a display of perfect timing, Alistair appears with Ruby. It's like, wait, just 1 minute.
Just 1 second there before you kill the girl.
Yes.
We would like the girl.
Yes.
Give me the girl.
He throws Ruby aside, and now we have a like heaven and hell face off. And I just want to say, I'm like, maybe this is weird. Maybe I'm in the minority. I don't know for sure. I can only speak on my own opinion. I'm like in love with this guy's voice and affectation and his lisp. The guy who plays Alistair.
Oh my gosh. He reminds me of like the Godfather.
A little bit. He is pulling a little Marlon Brando. Yeah. A little bit of that.
But yeah, because he's talking in a way that it's like you kind of want to mock him, but you also know that he's going to kill you if you do.
Yeah. Because it was like the way he was just like, I think I'll take my chances. And he just has this essence just in a certain kind of way. And even in the, in his introduction scene, when he's like, he's Dean, a little bit,
Dean.
just a touch, like a touch effeminate, but in the
Right.
perfect kind of way.
But-
you know, when he was like playing like, oh no, I'm being choked out.
Yeah,
Oh, that
it
was just a
tickles.
tickle. I just,
Yeah.
ooh, I love
Because he
him as
doesn't have to
Alistair.
be yeah, because he doesn't have to be a full like muscle bound badass. He can
Yeah.
be whatever he wants to be, and because he is like the mass torturer of hell.
And
You know, I dare you to
fucking powerful, because in here
Yeah.
a second when like the battle royale starts happening, you know, Cass goes to smite him. Uriel's doing it to his minions over like behind him, but Cass tries to
Yep.
do it to Alistair. Nothing.
nothing.
Again,
Nothing.
he fakes him out. He's like, oh no, I'm gonna
Oh, no.
die, sucker. You know, psych.
Yeah, and then knocks like Castiel out. I have to say, I wrote down like the minion demons. I'm like, we need to start calling them like red shirt demons, because
Yeah.
anybody who appears next to a higher ranking demon is just going to die.
Yeah, they're doomed.
They're just
Absolutely
doomed.
doomed.
So I was just referring to them all as red shirt demon number 1, red shirt demon number 2. So the gist of it is, Uriel attacks red shirt demon number 1, takes and starts like to smite him, like hand on the forehead, like punch, and then hand on the forehead, and starts to smite demon number 1. Cass, like you said, Cass goes after Alistair to no effect, to the point where Alistair is able to knock Cass down off his feet and goes and starts choking him while trying to, I'm assuming, exorcise him.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. He starts chanting like the same 2 lines over and over again.
Yeah.
So it wasn't
Potestas
exactly an
infirma
exorcism.
Me confirma.
Yeah, which
I
I,
mean,
did not look up or anything to see
It
what.
means infernal power embolden me. So he was calling out to hell, to the underworld, for strength.
Oh,
So he was trying to gather strength to kill the angel.
I
I'm
see.
assuming it was to kill him.
right. To like choke him out with his bare hands, essentially.
Yeah. So that's what he was basically saying. Infernal power embolden me. Infernal power embolden me.
Got it.
Dean is able to like slam Alistair with a tire iron and is shocked when it doesn't have any effect on him except to like draw his attention to Dean.
It distracts him, but does very little actual damage.
Yes. Yeah. And he's like, Dean, in that wonderful accent. You know, I'm so disappointed. You know, you had such promise. And again, Sam is like, what does that mean? Like, he doesn't say it, but he's thinking it. He's seeing all this happen, and he's still like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So Alistair then blasts Dean.
He blasts both of them back, and you know starts to do the Cruciatus curse. Yeah.
So now both Sam and Dean are choking. Uriel is able to smite red shirt demon number 2, but while he's doing that, he's distracted and is able to grab the grace off of his neck. Yep. And runs to the center of the barn and smashes her grace on the ground, and it clouds out in this white tint, like white smoke, but with blue.
It's kind of like a white smoke demon, essentially, like a white light demon, because it even like enters her the same way that a demon would a body, which is like through the mouth.
She's
and
like, yep.
And then as she's like filled with it and it starts growing and glowing, it gets more and more intense, and she keeps shouting like, shut your eyes, shut your eyes, shut your eyes. And everybody who is able to, you know, shuts their eyes. And at the
Except
peak,
for Alistair, Cass, and Uriel.
yes, and at the peak, you know, she's like, shut your eyes! And then she like angel ray guns out and takes Alistair with her.
Yep.
Like outside of the shop, she's gone.
Right. But right before that happens, Alistair steps towards her, like reaches out to her, steps towards her, and then all of a sudden she explodes, taking him with her. And everybody else in the barn has like wind whipped in their face, you know, while this was very Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark with the Miriam, shut your eyes. There you go. There you go. Just going to say it.
Yes.
But they're left alone with no angels, no demons. Except for Ruby.
No, that's not true. Cass and Uriel are there.
Oh shit! I jumped the gun. Sorry.
It's okay. So then they leave. Like Cass and Uriel are like, you damn kids.
Uriel's still pissed. Uriel's pissed. Cass is like, let's fight this another day.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
And then they go.
Yeah. Dean picks up the demon blade that Alistair dropped. This time, finally, it was a demon who dropped the blade. And
And then they kind of give each other pats on the back, and they were like, "Good idea, Sam." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, yeah.
Because kind of like this whole time, I'm like, "How did Anna know that her Grace was there?" Like, they all seemed
Right?
surprised that they just showed up. So like, "Oh, angels! Hey, how's it
Hey.
going?"
Yeah. Hey, look, here's Ruby with the demons.
Yeah. Okay, what's going on? So it's like, oh, Sam thought this up, and he stole or was inspired by Ruby's Godzilla and Mothra
Mothra,
comment of like, let's get them all together in the same room and just
let
like have them
fight it out
Yeah.
because there's no way we could have
Yeah.
done it. So
Mhm.
just let them fight it out, and it worked. Which I have to say, they're acting in those final scenes better than the acting that Dean and Sam did in the bar when they were hustling
100%.
Just
100%.
So we know that they can pull it out when they need to,
Yeah.
or pull it off, so to speak. So Sam kind of thinks that this is a happy ending. He's like, "Oh, well, Anna's up in heaven now as a super angel," and
Yeah.
Dean's like, not so sure about the happiness part of this.
Yeah.
And so, cut to
Yeah.
next day, the next morning.
Boys are having a beer by the car, which is like a
the
classic
road.
closing scene.
Yep. Beer next to the Impala, and they're like, "We made it!"
Yeah.
Clink, clink. After a quiet moment, Dean, without any provocation, brings up Alistair and says, "I know you heard him. I know you heard what he said." And Sam's like,
"Yeah, I did, but I told you I
but
wasn't going to push, so I'm not going to push,
Yep, you're not talking, so I'm not pushing. And so Dean breaks down and tells him what it was like in hell. First of all, that it wasn't just 4 months in hell. 4 months was like 40 years of torture in hell. Which, again, with the Bible and the 40 and the...
yeah, they love the number 40.
Yep.
And this,
but
again, I said this in the last time they mentioned it, but I passed over this again. It's just like, oh, he said I don't remember what I thought he said, like 4 years or something.
Yeah.
And it was like somebody else that was just like, no, he said 40. I'm like, no, he didn't. And he's like, no, twice. Twice it was said. But anyway. So yeah, he spent that time being literally tortured and carved up to tiny bits on the rack. Like torn to shreds at the start of each day, and then being restored by the end of each day to then start over in the next.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on to this juicy nugget of a scene, there are so many Greek myths that are like similar to this.
Yeah.
There's Prometheus, who stole fire from Mount Olympus, and his punishment was having his liver eaten alive by eagles every day. So similar in this, like he was, strapped to a rock or something, chained to a rock. Eagles would come, like peck out his liver and like eat it out of him while alive, and then his liver would restore by the end of the day, only to like have the eagles come and peck him out again.
Jesus, I don't remember that.
I remember like I was like, this is very Grecian, this like, being restored. Yeah. So I had to go look it up to see if there were any exact ones. There's not, but there's a lot of similars. There's Sisyphus, who was a cruel king and basically like a serial killer, just kind of like killed people for fun. He leaked a location of like secret water nymphs, and this is the one he was forced to carry or push a boulder up to the top of a mountain, and like just before he reached the top, the boulder would roll down, so then he had to do it over and over and over again for eternity.
For eternity.
And then there's Tantalus, who was a son of Zeus, one of the favorite sons of Zeus, who was just kind of a mischief maker up in Mount Olympus, but like the thing that did him in was he killed his own son and cooked and served him at like a god's dinner party. Like he was always invited to the dinner parties up on Mount Olympus, but the gods were like, we know what you did, we're gods. So he was doomed to eternal thirst and hunger by being surrounded by water and fruit that were always out of his grasp. So he'd like go to like bend down and take a drink, and it would like sift through his fingers. And he would like go to reach for the fruit, and like he could never get closer. I know, these like,
man, the Greeks and the gods.
They did not fuck around, the Greeks, man. They wanted you punished. They wanted to make sure you were never going to do these bad things.
Right? And they didn't like women much either, because I hate to say it. It's like, is there anybody? Oh, Persephone. Is she okay? It's like
Persephone is the wife of Hades, and she gets to go up to the surface like every 6 months. She's like the spring and the summer seasons, and then in the
Right.
fall and the winter seasons, she goes back down into Hades. So she's
So
kind
it's
of
not
like,
too bad.
oh, she was trapped by him. I think she was like, I'm taking you for a wife. And then she finally made a
Right.
deal with him eventually. It was just
That
like,
she
well, at
could
least
go
let
up
me go
and-
for 6 months, so I don't
Right.
have to stay down here forever.
Okay, so yeah, they hate women. So just
They
put that
hate
out
men too, obviously. I mean,
here's my son. Let me serve him up on a platter to you.
yeah. Okay.
Wow. Thank you for that. All right. Eagles eating your liver. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
So anyway, Dean was suffering a similar fate in being tortured to death, or to near death. Well, he's already dead, but
Right. But
each night, and then being restored whole to then be done again.
right. But not only was he restored whole, each night, right before the end, Alistair would come to him and say, I will end this. I'll take you off the rack if you put souls on it.
Mm-hmm.
And for 30 years, Dean says, no, I will not put other souls through this. And he suffers for 30 years until he finally can't withstand it anymore. He breaks. And he's taken off the rack and then becomes the torturer himself. And he's crying while he's describing that he broke. And not only did he break, he then tortured souls.
Yeah.
He did the same thing to other souls. And he says, I don't even know how many I did. It was just, I just did it.
Yeah. And the things that he did to him, he can't even bring himself to say what they are.
Yeah. And Sam is listening to this and is very, I don't want to say sympathetic, but he says the right thing, which is, Dean, you lasted longer than anybody would have. You lasted 30 years, and that's what you should be taking.
Yeah.
But again, that's the participation prize that Dean doesn't want,
Yeah, Sam is focusing on the positives. Like, you lasted for 30 years.
30
That's a
years.
that's a lifetime almost. Like a young lifetime.
Yeah.
And Dean is focusing on the 10.
The 10 years, instead of the 30.
Yeah. The 10 that he had in his eyes failed.
And and he doesn't want to fail at anything, and he failed. And not only did he fail, but now he's left with the emotions of what he did.
Yeah.
And he can't stand it, which harkens back to him talking to Anna about emotions.
Yeah.
Like, it would be okay to not have emotions, while she's like, no, I want emotions, even if they're bad. She didn't know what he was holding inside him at that moment, which is the guilt. I'm assuming the guilt of the 10 years of torturing other souls. That's a feeling that he can't even bring himself to tell Sam about. He's like, I can't even. He's like, and he made it sound like I wish I could stop feeling altogether. And who hasn't experienced that? Whether it's physical pain of when you get hurt, you're just waiting for that pain to stop so you can like breathe again, type of thing, or the emotional pain of when you're given something terrible that you wish you could just go back before you were given the terrible.
Yeah.
So that you didn't have to have that feeling anymore. And whether it's a broken heart, or whether it's bad news, whether it's, you failed your, whatever. We've all had that pain of wishing that we'd never experienced it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of think that that's what he's going through right now, which is, I wish I never had these emotions at all.
Right.
And he just can't wait for the pain to subside. And this scene was just so beautiful.
That's exactly what I wrote. I said, this is a beautiful piece of acting from Jensen. Yeah. Like, he is deep down in it. It's real. It's visceral. It rips at your gut. Like, I didn't even want to say like it was heart-wrenching. It was just, it punched you in the gut, which is a stronger feeling to me than like, it's like, oh my God, I'm so heartbroken. It's like, no, it's like solar plexus. It's gut. It's like,
and it's because we've had that emotion. I mean, we didn't torture souls in hell, but we've all had that emotion that I wish I'd never experienced that emotion. I wish I never had that feeling, that pain that emotional pain inside my body. I wish I never experienced, because you know what? It's not going to go away. It's always going to be there now.
Yeah.
So, and he played it beautifully. He absolutely played it beautifully.
It was like a masterful scene done by
strong
Jensen.
Man. And I mean, Jared was fantastic as well. He didn't need to upstage him, didn't need to underplay, overplay. He just was there, literally supporting.
Right, because also, like, what could you say to that? You know, like anybody, you know, like if you received a piece of news like that, or like, I don't know exactly what to say in this moment, if there is even anything right to say in this moment. How do I support
to say? There's no answer. There's no answer. There's no magic word to make it better. You know, it's like
and even this is like, oh, it's all gonna be okay. That's not going to cut it.
Yeah. Like I didn't tell this story, but I texted you about the injury at this last show. Part of the day after the initial injury happened was telling everybody to breathe.
Yeah.
To let go of whatever tension you have right now and just breathe. If you have to cry, if you have to scream, get it out. This isn't about protecting anybody's feelings. It's not about protecting, I don't want to be this person. I'm like, cry it out, blow it out. You know, we have to move past this moment in time.
Yeah.
And they did. I mean, it was hard, but it was just one of those emotions. You get trapped in your head.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need someone to tell you it's okay.
Yeah.
To feel this and to do what you need to do with those emotions. It's okay. Do it. So it's okay, Dean. Do it. But yeah, it was beautiful. It was poignant. It was emotional. And he didn't overplay it. He was, he had tears running down his face. He had snot running out of his nose.
No,
but
I thought he played it very real.
Yeah. Yeah. He didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
He didn't know what to do. There's, you can't kill that emotion, can't be the hunter and kill it. Can't be the hero and say, oh, it's okay, I'll deal with it. Let me throw myself on that grenade for you. He can't, and he's just stuck with it. Beautiful, beautiful ending.
Yes. Agreed. And we're stuck with that grenade for another week. Or for 30 seconds until you like the next one.
Until you just like, damn it, I need to watch the next episode. Finds my palate. What is the next episode?
The next episode is oh my gosh, so they would have had to have waited 2 months because Heaven and Hell was the mid-season finale.
Oh,
so that premiered November 20th, 2008. The next one, Family Remains, wasn't until January 15th of the next year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, and I remember Family Remains. Okay. Yeah.
I don't.
I do. It took me a second. I was running through my head. I was like, yep. No, I remember this one.
Wow, I do not at all. I'm just like looking through some of the still shots. Not ringing a bell at all.
Yeah, there's a scene in here that I am always anti when TV shows or movies do this particular thing, and I'll talk about it next time
when we get there.
So,
Family Remains.
Beautiful episode.
Yes.
Family Remains. That is not a beautiful episode. Just ... I was referring back to Heaven and Hell.
Yes, I understand.
Well, I have a quick question though. So with Alistair and Anna both gone, does that mean that Alistair is dead? Did she kill him? Did she smite him? Or did he just get like thrown back to hell?
I don't.
Because if they're assuming that she lived through that she like that explosion was her, her grace taking her back into heavenly angel form, what happened to Alistair? Because he was looking directly at her. So maybe he got burned out. Maybe he got burned out from through his eyeballs, through his innards. I don't know. That's just a question. I was like, does that mean he's dead?
Yeah, there were a lot of kind of
because the demon body stayed.
Continuity things. Yeah. Because even in the beginning, when Anna casts away the angels with her, oh, never mind. No, I just answered my own question. Because she's not technically an angel. Because I was like, how come she didn't get blasted away by the angel casting away spells? Because, oh, she doesn't have grace. She's not an angel. She's human. Yeah. All right. That was that.
All right.
For Heaven and Hell.
Great. Godzilla versus Mothra.
Yeah, that's what it should have been called, honestly. Godzilla versus Mothra.
Oh, that reminds me. They did try to, the original title of this episode was Hell's Angels.
Oh, that would have been so good. And but did they not want it? The Hell's Angels were like, no.
Hell's Angels said, hell no. Yep. They said copyright infringement.
They are very protective over their brand.
Yeah. So Heaven and Hell it is.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. That's going to wrap it up for this week. Please subscribe to us anywhere that you can find podcasts. If you could rate us and review us, that would be very helpful, and we would appreciate it. You can also follow us on social media. We are at Salt and Burn This everywhere. We're on YouTube also at Salt and Burn This, if that is a way you prefer to listen to podcasts. So yeah, thank you all for listening. Oh, and I know we mentioned it last time, but I do want to make a bigger deal out of it, that we hit 10,000 listens, downloads.
Yes.
I know we just kind of glazed over it last week. We're like, oh, guess what happened? But you know what? No,
we did it.
This is a big deal. We've been around 10, for like 2 years, and we hit 10,000, which, you know, I'm going to take it.
I'll take it too, because that's actually 10,000 that we know about, that our one, you know, registered area knows about. Mm-hmm. It doesn't go into, like, it doesn't include YouTube. It doesn't include, you know, other, you know, other venues. So
yeah, that isn't tracked through our little hosting site. So thank you everyone so much for being a part of that 10,000.
We were much more excited on the outside than what we brought into the podcast.
So here we go for the next 10,000.
Woo! Oh my God.
Thank you guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.